welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
We're feeling good on a Wednesday. That's where we are. We're at Wednesday. It's Wednesday time. Yes. Anyway, what's up, Ian?
Not too much. Just ready to get into this standard Q&A, which is from where?
A variety of places. Most of it comes from our email, but we got a couple Twitter ones and even a Discord question mixed in here. So, it's a potpourri of questions. Question sources,
Marvelous.
I should say. So,
Then let us breathe deep and exhale our answers.
yes. Let's do it to it. Let's get through them. There's a question from Lazy Strawberry to start us off. Would Silver eventually have found out that Mogul is not good? Was Mogul truly redeemed, or did he play Silver like a pawn?
That will be covered in Lost Hedgehog Tales in the distant future, where Mogul is old, and I finally can actually publish the damn thing.
And where you are also old, maybe. He played Silver like a damned fiddle. Probably. I'm going to go with that because he's Mogul. It's kind of what he does. Oh, well. If you want to keep it...
If that's the case...
I don't know.
Then that makes Silver Miller. So do we have Blaze, hauling Silver out of the Afghanistan base?
Okay. Sure. Okay. I don't know what you're referring to.
Never mind.
Okay. Let's move on.
We get deep into Metal Gear with that one, and it's like, it's not worth the joke.
Metal Gear. Okay.
If you get it, you get it. If you don't worry about it. It's not that funny.
Okay. I mean, I'm still laughing, but that's just because I have a problem where I laugh at everything, even when it's not funny. Here's a question from a big Sonic fan, Patrick. What in the solar system happened to the Starlight Carnival fleet from Sonic Colors? That unique branch of the Egg Fleet in space was a bit of an enigma to that game, as it wasn't a wisp planet, and yet it had a gravity generator tethering it to the tropical resort.
Yeah, I imagine. Well, I mean, the whole thing is supposed to be a big interplanetary carnival, so it's his electric light parade. He made good on the promise. It is a big carnival. That's just, then Planet Wisp went away, so I don't know, maybe it's still in orbit.
Maybe. Here's a question from Commander Proton. In previous podcast, you said that the reasons Mega Man and X give up their weapons in the Archie continuity is that they are pacifists at heart and don't want to keep them. I like to bring up in Mega Man X5, you fight Zero or X late game depending on how you are playing, but depending on who you are playing as at the time. If you fight X, he uses 3 weapons from X4. If you had gotten to that point in the Archie books, would you have explained that detail or just chose to ignore it? If the former, how so?
Hard to say, since that would have been, years into the book, but just off the top of my head, you could say that it's the first signs of X starting to become a little embittered, to start to realize that his ideals can't be maintained as stringently as he wishes them to. And it would be maybe a nice bit of foreshadowing to his crisis of faith in X7. Because it's been a while, but I seem to remember that part of the deal in 7 is that he just is tired of fighting and realizing that he doesn't really care anymore about who gets hurt. So if by X5 he's actually holding on to an arsenal when earlier he would have let it go, might be a way of saying, here he is starting to get embittered and more militaristic in his mentality when that's who he doesn't want to be.
Right.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. I can see that. It's a good answer of just off the top of your head, really. It works. Here's one from Tony C. I remember you saying Silver's time travel makes no sense, but honestly, I feel his time travel isn't that confusing in concept. With the exception of Colors DS, Silver has only appeared when an outside element bothered the present. Mephiles, Dr. Nega, the Phantom Ruby appearing from another dimension, and Dodonpa's invitation. Would you say the metal virus is a side effect of the Phantom Ruby bothering the present?
No, metal virus is its own crisis. Not really related to the Phantom Ruby.
It is a crisis of infinite Sonics, except there was only one. Here's a question from Callum Q. You think we could see the return of the Battlebird Armada? I think a goofy but militant force like that would work well for the modern book, but I would be happy to see them return in Classic as well. Thoughts?
If it were to return, it would more than likely be a Classic exclusive element, which is fine for me, because I actually don't mind the Classic Modern division. You know, let them have different flavors to them, different approaches to their content.
I don't mind it either, but I would like to see some more character crossover playing around with that, but it's not necessary, but something I'd like to see.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to play with all the toys, but as we've said in the past, modern Sonic is overflowing with characters and content.
Right.
So updating all the classic stuff too is just adding to the pile.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I would love to see modern Hooligans and Mighty and Ray, but do we necessarily need them? But more to the point, I adore the Battlebird Armada. I really want to see them as a goofy antagonist alternative to Eggman and the classic stuff. But we'll just have to see how that do.
All right, here's a question from Certified Nobody. Ian, if we ever get around to exploring the human side of IDW, would you have any interest in bringing back Sigma Alpha 2, even if just for a reference? And if so, how would you do it? Would you draw from their Archie counterparts in any way, or start from scratch to make them fit better with the game version of Gun?
The Archie stuff would be off limits for sure. And my initial knee-jerk reaction was like, "No, that's an Archie thing. You can't do it." It's like, "Oh, no. That wasn't the intro to SA2. That was the joke. And that's where Archie got the prompt from." So conceivably, if, Gun is still a thing and, we could reference it, it would be, to start from scratch. But all we really have is that call sign. So there's not really a ton to work from.
Right.
I don't know. We could, but I don't know if it's a bit of minutia that's worth mining and risking confusion between different kinds of Sonics, or if it's, perfectly fine. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
It's really weird to hear you say, is that we don't really need to mine that bit of random trivial minutia from Sonic's history. That's like who are you and what happened to Ian?
Fair enough.
I mean, you're right, but it's still kind of it's weird to hear it coming from your mouth. Anyway, here's a question from Madeline Blue Star 7. Ian, when you write Jules' dialogue, what kind of voice do you imagine for her? I imagine her as having a voice like Tara Strong's Twilight Sparkle, as Jewel has a lot in common with Twilight, like her leadership and organizational skills, personality, and the dynamic between her and Tangle is a lot like that of Twilight and Rainbow Dash.
You're not wrong. I could see that parallel. I feel like Jewel is a little more restrained than Twilight. Twilight has a habit of kind of freaking out over stuff, and Jewel, I mean, she gets out of her depth on occasion, but I don't feel like it's quite the same thing. I imagine a very polite, well-mannered, and down-to-earth type of voice.
She is a good boss, confirmed. not like one of them was annoying bosses or just bad bosses. Don't need any of those.
She's the type of boss that actually does learn your birthday.
All right, here's one from Blue Blur. So a question on super forms. The Emeralds were stated to turn tough/emotions into power. In 06, Superform can face Solaris, while shows weaker than being weaker than Solaris. And since Silver say they'll turn tough into power to resurrect Sonic, the Emeralds turn the emotions of everyone into power, which amps super forms to be able to face Solaris. Can you confirm? Also, does more thought, more though / emotions more equal more power than the Emeralds convert? I'm sorry, I'm not 100% sure what you're trying to say, so I can't change it to be more correct. So I apologize, but I think you probably get the point.
I think I get the
you get the gist
core
of it.
Of the question here.
Yeah.
In regards to do more thoughts and power equal a stronger super state? No, I don't think it's an input output thing. I think it's super state is super state. In terms of the thoughts into power, it's
thoughts is what they probably meant?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they mean thoughts.
Okay.
I think that's just a way of saying that you will it into being. Last episode, we talked about the Infinity Gems and Hulk snapping people into being again. I think that kind of falls along the same lines, is that it is just what you desire to happen happens. And what they desired was for Sonic to not be dead. What they desired was to have the power to fight Solaris, and that was the super forms. I don't think you could really make a distinction between different super states, because then you're saying that Sonic only wished for the power to defeat the Death Egg robot when he could have wished for the power to defeat a god and just immediately nuked Eggman, Why, if Sonic has the ability to, if everyone wants Sonic to stop perfect chaos, why does it only come out as Super Sonic, who actually has to gain speed? Why does he not become a Solaris level stomping golden god? I think it's just super state is super state.
Super is super. Must be super to stand a chance. There's a question from LA Plays Games. Is Irish the Hedgehog or Tribot on the table for IDW, at least as a background character? They're both debatable in canonicity, but are you allowed to use them? And can you also use the Sanic shirt from Forces as well, or does that get into weirder territory with rights?
Tribot, I think, would be easier to bring along.
We brought it
Irish.
Brought it up before. Irish is just Green Sonic, which we had once, and I don't know if we can have it again. I don't know if you want to risk
Irish
having it again.
Irish is very much tied to Jacksepticeye, and I don't know where the line is on that. I would think a background cameo would be harmless, but I can't be certain on that.
I don't know.
As for the Sanic shirt, I don't know. I get the joke, and I understand that it's somebody's rendition of a licensed character, so the license holder has full access to it. But it's still somebody's piece of art, and I don't know whether they got compensation for that, and so I would rather kind of not go there myself.
Yeah, I mean, they used it in the movies. I hope they paid the person, cut them a check for, I don't know, $20. I don't know. More than that, but still. At least give them a little something. Oh, well. You know how these guys are sometimes. These big companies. And there's going from the Big RG, which will be our last one before we take a quick break. When talking about the prequels and its villains, you said that General Grievous was a mistake. What is it about the cybernetic warrior with tuberculosis that hits a sour note for you?
Mistake in terms of execution. Thematically, he was meant to be the proto-Vader. Mm-hmm. And the design elements are there. He has a very skull-like appearance. He has a kind of mechanical skeleton look to him, with the bleached bone colorization. The hulking, hunched back, ghoul-like form. And if we're going by the Genndy Tartakovsky cartoons, he's an absolute terror to behold. He is a boogeyman who creeps through the shadows and out-Jedis the Jedi. And saying that what little organics he left in him were damaged, and that's why he's rasping because he's barely alive within this mechanical shell. They're all really neat elements and potentially horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see the Clone Wars cartoon that much, so I can't really weigh in on what he was like there. But I have heard he's very much like he is in the prequels, which is, I'm supposed to be this terrifying force, and I get jobbed every single time.
Mm-hmm.
His presentation in the prequels is nothing short of goofy.
Yeah.
He doesn't come across as tactical. He doesn't come across as scary. Even the moment when he does the forearm thing and he's twirling the lightsabers, that looks neat, but Obi-Wan does not look intimidated. He looks like, oh, this would be a fun fight for me. At no point does Grievous come across as a threatening or serious challenge in the movies. And I feel like someone who is built to have that much presence should have been around a lot longer. Like, if Vader is the boogeyman for the original trilogy and it's his story of redemption, which I still don't buy, but we're just going to run with it, then conceivably Grievous should have been around at least since Clone Wars to be that parallel, to be the face of the enemy. And with all the soulless droids running around, he is somehow worse because he has that shred of living humanity within him. And it's not. He's there as a set piece more than not. And he dies to a joke that's not even that well executed. And it's just, ugh.
And that's
yuck.
Almost every villain in the prequels gets jobbed hard. Like, it's
the only reason why
they're cool ideas on paper, but then on execution they're just kind of lame. It's like, what is this? Why we need to, like, you had a central villain in the original trilogy. You don't really have that as much in the prequels, because every time a new villain's introduced, they get killed off within the same movie. Except for Palpatine. Yeah. Palpatine's kind of pulling the strings, but it's not quite like he's I don't know, they don't set him up as a truly terrifying entity until maybe the third movie.
And the thing is, too, that, if the idea is that Sidious is, burning through these assets to get his goal, that could be perfectly fine.
Sure.
But each villain is set up as the antagonist for the movie and then dropped.
Yeah.
So it feels like you're being teased with something each time, and you don't feel like it's a sacrifice. It isn't like Sidious is putting the pieces on the board to be removed. It's, here's the toy we're selling in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Maul kind of endures because he was so minimalistic. He was a force of nature, and he manages to take out a Jedi. Now, he is always a threat. On Tatooine, he comes out of nowhere. You fight him long enough to escape. And then he shows up in the hangar on Naboo, and it's like, oh, well, we have a war going on, but we need to focus on this guy. The minimalism helps him. Dooku is carried because it's Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
That's
really it. Yeah.
If it was, maybe another actor could carry that load all right as well, but it's Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
That makes that, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And you can get a taste of, there's supposed to be a deeper narrative there, but we don't ever dwell on it. We don't ever get it explained.
Nope.
And then he's done and he's gone. And then he dies in the opening of the third movie, which is almost unwatchably bad start to finish. So, but you got to get him out of the way, because here comes Grievous. Look at how advanced the CG was for its era, and now it looks dated.
Right.
But we got to sell the toy. Gonna chase him with the big lizard that goes warble, warble, warble.
Yeah. Yeah, Darth Maul is a big missed opportunity for sure. They could have kept him around for a bit longer. So he definitely had some presence to him, but they just didn't do anything with him, and it's like, That's kind of how it goes with the prequels in general.
Yeah. And in a way, you could almost say that each one is a element of what became perfected in Vader. Because Maul is the raw power.
Right.
And Dooku is the personal insult of someone who betrayed the Order. And then Grievous is the unholy mashup of man and machine. And you could argue that, those three get taken out and then the package deal is Vader. And that's why he is such a presence. But it doesn't feel like that's a conscious through line in the prequels.
No.
It feels like you're kind of looking backwards and trying to make these pieces fit.
Right. Yeah, and they always seem to do better with the villains in other media, like in the cartoons, They seem to handle the prequel villains a lot better in those, which is annoying, because not everybody is watching those cartoons. It's like, come on.
Well, the cartoons also have the luxury of multiple episodes.
They do have, yes, they have the luxury of time, but, if you don't have time across 3 movies, then I don't know what to tell you. I mean, oh well. They spent the whole first movie just the filler. The whole first movie is just filler, really, for the most part. There's a few things here and there, but they really could have been condensed. So, oh well. That's enough Star Wars talk. Let's take a break. And we have returned with more Q&A. This one from Pikaru. The Nocturnus clan was once called the fourth great civilization by archaeologists and Gerald Robotnik after discovering the Gizoid, Sonic Battle and Chronicles. But that implies the existence of 3 other great civilizations, or possibly more. What are the other great civilizations? Was there an ancient Mobian equivalent to ancient Babylon? Or depending on how you interoperate the two-world theory, are the other great civilizations the human civilizations, like actual Babylon?
I don't know. I mean, the Nocturnus clan isn't canon, so we don't really know who the fourth great civilization was. I would think that the Babylonians, Jets people, would have been one of them, since they, I'm pretty sure, predate the Gizoids, whatever they are. But yeah, beyond that, I'm not really sure. I'd have to actually look at what numbers are thrown around, but a lot of those numbers are super hazy. I think it's mostly just, they threw a number out there to make it sound like there has been a great deal of time has passed, and to add that air of mystery. I don't think there's actually a set in stone idea of who the first, second, third, fourth, and so on were. I wouldn't mind exploring that myself, but just talking about what is in the games and what we can pull from, I don't think there's really hard evidence for anything.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Sega. I don't think they listen to this show. Why'd they bother? Or maybe they do. Somebody does. Somebody out there is listening. Dun, dun, dun. There's a question from Callum Q. What if in the early 90s Bunny had been the main character of this Sonic franchise? How do you guys think that would have played out? She is such an awesome character, and I would have loved to see more stories about her. Well, I don't think it would be the Sonic franchise if she were the main character. So,
but I mean, it could work. She's supportive enough that she could be a mentor to Tails. She's got the power to kick butt, so that fills Sonic's role. She's got the personal vendetta because Robotnik half roboticized her. She's Sally's best friend, so she's devoted to restoring her friend's kingdom. And it's not really specified where she's from in SatAM, so you could say that, her kingdom too. But it was Sally fighting to regain her throne.
Mm-hmm.
And, she had just as little patience for Antoine as Sonic did in the show, so that dynamic is fairly consistent as well. Off the top of my head, I can't really think of a lot of interaction Bunny and Rotor had in the show. It's been a while.
I don't think they really did. Yeah, I think you're onto something there.
Their dynamic could still, you drop Sonic entirely and you put Bunny in his place, and the show still works quite fine.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't have the same impatience issue, but she was still kind of a get things done type of girl. So you could play that between her and Sally still. You know, she's got the muscle. They know what they need to do. Come on, Sally girl, let's just do it.
She was a woman of
And
action.
Sally's like, no, can we think this through, please? But it would be a more amicable debate, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if they'd have the knife cutting romantic tension in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
It's not quite the same. I mean, you still could, but I mean, this was the early 90s. They weren't going to broach that in that time frame.
The episode where the wizard Lazar takes Sonic's speed to teach him a lesson. Just remix it so he returns Bunny back to normal.
Yeah.
So she's got her limbs back like she wanted, but now she doesn't have the power she needs to save her friends. So she realizes that she's made the best of the worst situation. Yeah, you could work that. This could work out fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Next hobby project, full Sat AM rewrite, but with Bunny. Add it to the list.
No Sonic. No Sonic at all. Screw that guy. Don't need that guy. We didn't need him. I think that's a good idea. But I mean, I don't know if they're necessarily talking about just Sat AM. They're talking about like in the games and stuff, like weird bunny games. It'd be a very different game, first of all, because it might be a little bit more like, I mean, they originally envisioned a rabbit playable character that picked up things with your ears and then chucked them at enemies. So that
she could do that with her extendo arm.
Yeah, that sort of gameplay mechanic might have persisted in some form if a rabbit had been the main character. I don't know. I think it could have worked.
That's more Bionic Commando than Sonic.
Yeah, maybe. She can jump though. I mean, not being able to jump in Bionic Commando is like that's one of the things that makes that game freaking difficult. All right, here's a question from Chi H. Was the intention for Starline's creation to be basically the antithesis toward the Mobian's way of life? A Mobian who allied himself with an invader seeking to industrialize the planet. Seems like such an interesting theme that could be explored.
You're not wrong, and that's one way to read them. My approach was more of, a character, exploring the type of person who gravitates towards bad people. Someone who is undeniably, demonstrably monstrous. Why would anyone follow? And yet there are still people who do gravitate towards the most blatant and literal evils in the world. Why would you do that? What type of person would do that? And that was part of the thinking behind Starline. Another part of it was to kind of go against the typical lackey that Eggman has had over the years. Even with Starline operating against Eggman, it is with the ultimate goal of being with him. Snively and Grimer and Sleet and Dingo, and so many others who have been at his right hand have all tried to overthrow and usurp and destroy him. Whereas Starline is very much of the mindset of, I can do it better, and I want to incorporate him in that. And that's just a nice little different twist on the old formula.
Right. I like it. Here's one from Lozical. In the Sonic Channel stories and the 30th anniversary comic, the Chaos Emeralds are shown hiding in secluded places amidst nature while they recharge. I love this idea since it ties in with Sonic's general environmental themes. It also parallels some games hiding the special stage entrances, or sometimes just the emeralds themselves, in stages. I hope this idea sticks around, but it does beg the question, what are the special stages?
We kind of touched upon that in the last episode. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the old Archie books, we said it was a pocket dimension that was constantly in flux, but what they are in terms of the actual game, they may just be a gameplay mechanic and are not treated as real world locations. I don't know. That is something that I want to eventually dig into and get a more official answer on.
And next question is from BRQE. So I was wondering, does Zeti have EM powers, electromagnetic powers, which allow them to control technology? Yet it seems like Lost Hex didn't have any technology prior to Eggman's arrival. Did the Zeti have their own technology before Eggman came there? Also, can the Zeti do more with their electromagnetic powers than just controlling technology?
They seem to have some rudimentary stuff, like the castle in, what was it called? Lava Volcano Zone?
That's not generic at all.
The Bowser stages. They had, gears and such, but they were not like Eggman level tech. It didn't look like they ran on electricity. So just making that distinction of what level of technology they had. I mean, you could explore that a bit. Maybe they could at one point, and their warlike nature destroyed the advanced technology, or maybe that's just something they figured out to do while under Eggman's servitude. It's not really explained, and you could take it in a few ways, but they were so generally poorly received, I don't know if we'll get the ability to do that. In terms of greater expanse, I had a couple ideas on what might be neat, but it could potentially make them overpowered, and I don't want to throw that out of my back pocket just yet. But in terms of internal approvals, no, that's all their EM powers can do officially as of now.
And our next question is from T.U. Lennon. So, there was perfect chaos in Sonic Adventure. It was reasonably big, about the size of a lake or so. And in Sonic Universe, we learned that Chaos Emeralds can move continents. So my question is, how big can perfect chaos get? Like, can it become the ocean and flood the entire globe if it really wanted to?
I mean, keep in mind with Unleashed, the emeralds are being put into the Gaia temples, which are already gigantic structures that are built into nature itself. It might be that the temples are doing a lot of the heavy lifting and that the emeralds are powering them. Okay. It may not be that the emeralds themselves are moving the continental plates.
I said Sonic Universe, but yeah, Sonic Unleashed. My bad.
Yeah. That was a question, though, that I wondered about. Is like, if Perfect Chaos were to get access to a larger body of water, could it just incorporate that? Could you have just one gigantic angry ocean? Or is he limited to a certain sphere of influence? I don't know. It's a neat idea that could be explored, but I don't have a solid answer.
Here's a question from Bandana Fox. What caused Vector to leave Down Under and the fallout he had with Barbie and Bill? Is it because he never got along with his quote-unquote father who got mentioned? Would Barbie and Bill eventually have forgiven him?
We didn't have a ton of stuff planned for that, but I will be detailing that in Lost Hedgehog Tales and the long, long far off whenever the hell it comes out.
All right, here's one from Minister T. Not to be confused with Mr. T. It's a different person. I assume.
He blesses the fool.
Maybe. Got a question for you regarding the Seasons of Chaos story in IDW's 30th anniversary special. In Autumn Forest Zone, we see Ray retrieve the purple Chaos Emerald from the top of a tree and give it to Mighty, who hides it behind his shell when the hooligans show up. Later in the fight, however, we see the same emerald falling out of the tree, but we never see how it got back up there. Similarly, we see Amy, Mighty, and Ray retrieve the yellow emerald in Summer Fall Zone, but later down the line, we see it in the possession of the Heavy King without saying how he got it. I assume a couple things were lost in translation, but did you have any specific plans for how these emeralds got to the places they ended up that we never got to see?
Go back and reread. You'll notice that when the purple emerald goes flying again, it comes out of the same tree Mighty is stuck in. Mighty gets crammed back first into that tree, and it pops up out of the hollow higher up. So that's where the purple emerald comes from. As for the yellow emerald, well, you see, if you if you reread the plan was that the important thing is we had fun along the way, right?
The emeralds were the friends we made along the way.
They're chaotic in nature, and therefore they just okay, that was a bit of a flub. I think it was supposed to be grabbed by Metal Knuckles, but that I'd have to dig up the script again. That might just be an oopsie.
Who do we blame? Do we blame you, Ian? I mean, we always blame you. That's kind of the default. But do we blame the artist? Do we blame the editor? I think we blame all of them.
I'm too lazy to dig up the script, so you can just blame me for that one.
Actually, wait, no, you blame me because I'm the one who's behind it all.
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay, cool. I'll take the blame.
There we go.
It's fine. It's fine. Here's one from TickTick. How much do you think Sega is aware of the fans' confusion when it comes to the world building and the characters?
Hard to say, to be perfectly honest, because I'm not really in the Sega offices either in America or in Japan.
It probably kind of depends on which office you're talking to, who you're talking to in that office, and yeah. Sega is not a monolith. So, yeah. And finally, our last question is from Koro-kun. Why the fuck? I mean, heck, aren't you writing the games?
Well, we can tell this is a archived question, can't we?
Yeah, I pulled this one out just to be like, remind people, you remind people you actually are writing a Sonic game now. So there.
Mm-hmm.
The game is called Sonic Frontiers. It will possibly be releasing toward the end of this year. Maybe. Possibly. And Ian hopes you like it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all he's legally allowed to say.
Mm-hmm.
So, there we go. Yes. We cannot speak any further on it. We
can't speak about it.
We know nothing. Except all the lovely people who help support us.
That's right. That's either through patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, or through a YouTube membership. Big thank you to Daniel H., Alex P., James K., John B., Jennifer R., Robotnik, Holmes, Samuel P., Sam Cybercat, Torchbound, Mike B., Coupling Crew 128, Doas Diz Den, Diane W., Andrew D., Dave M., Scruffy Matt, Salute Your Cat, Off, Chris A., Sony, J. Frost, John M., Noni, Jib, Don B., Yami M., Hero of Light 13, Lee HK, Lisa M., Chevelle, Ryan D., Piggybank, Blue Title Gamer, Tick Tick, Final Neil, Ben W., Invade Turbo Tunis, Fiona M., Jonathan D., Fire Red XY, Sonic, Godzilla, Chaos Universe, Sonic Legacy, Dabbler the Dalek, Lost My Place, Daniel B., PC the Unicorn, Dove, Red the Supernamic, Pandolce, Carlos, Joe S., Chad, Jennifer H., Preston M., The Name is X, Nemric, Les, Alphamon or Yukon, Ava Arctic, Chase L, Sapphire Scarletta, Noah S, Patron Saint of the Chicken Nuggies, Saint Jerry, Ramen, Corgiro Highwind, Professor Rye, Solaris Stain, Cameron H, Owen BD, Red Wolf, Kimiko, Callum Q, Radry, Xanderoni the Painter, Turbo Crooker, Nathan J, Funky Space Alien, Just a Mountain Soul, Lewis J, In Zephyr, Maddie H, Alex the Border Collie, Ty H, For Sonic Fan, Techno Cinema, KJB, Mox, Rusty Cook, Axis, Chaos Voltage, Hedgehog 2234, Strawberry Cheesecake, Steve A, The Internet Person, Scurvy Pirate Hog, and Saturn Flicky.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you for listening. And for supporting us, and yeah, you guys are all awesome, all of you, every single one of you who's listening right now. Even if we didn't say your name, you're awesome.
Absolutely. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we will see you next week for more BumbleKast.
Let's do it. Next week, not right now though. We're tired. Colors D's. Is that D's? Is that like D's? Colors
DS.
Colors D's nuts?
No, Kyle.
Oh.
Bad.
You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org.
I do kind of miss the idea that Jar Jar was the stealth Sith in the
Yeah,
mix.
yeah, that would have been fun.
Like he was pulling an evil Yoda.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean,
I've
evil Jar Jar.
if they were gonna, the whole thing with the Yoda thing was that they sell it within 2 scenes. Evil Jar Jar would have needed to have been established better in the first to actually pay off later.
Yeah, yeah. Still, I mean, the idea of Darth Jar Jar is very fun. It's much better than what we ended up with.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I appreciate that from a fanon perspective. Anyway, what? Oh,
Scruffy man.
No.
Loki, take off of me mask. But you'll die. Misa wanna look upon you with Misa own eyes.
Stop that.
If only you knew the power of the dark side. He's Bombas. Your thoughts betray you. Yes, sister. If you no be turned, then maybe she will.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
What is it you're beating, my master?
And this
Skywalker must die.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, but what if he be turned? Yes.
Man.
Yes, can it be done? He said join us, or he said die.
I really love this.
I really got to stop because it is making my head split.
I like, now I want this. And Speedweed is like screaming, no, never. And I'm just over here like, yes. Do it. All right, are we ready to jump back in? Get through this?
Obi-Wan, he's not a tell who killed your father. He told me enough. He told me you killed him. No, Loki. Me say your papa.
No, it's not true. No.
Search your feelings, you know be true. Join me, Loki. We can rule the empire as father and son.
No. But also yes.
Needs to give you your hand back too. Ooh. Look, you waving at yourself.
Ooh. It's amazing. I need this in my life.
At least we have post-credits content now.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, boy. I do want to see this. I want this to be real.
If you really want me to make it worse, it can be cast as Samus. Oh, the baby! The baby will eat the mother brain!
I think he will hunt you down and kill you now. I think murder is on the table.
That's all right. I will have earned it at that point.
I like how Lee in the background said stop, and that was just your cue to keep going. Perfect.
Oh, if I'm going to run this, is going to be into the ground.
Absolutely. I mean, that's your style, man. I appreciate that. I also enjoy running things into the ground and then beyond.
Clearly, it needs to be all Jar Jar Star Wars cast.
Yes.
He's no good to me if he did. The Empire, he compensates you if he die. Misa love you. Misa no. Yap. Misa yap. Un jaba no bada. Away with your weapon. Me say mean you no harm. Now witness the full bombast power of this fully operational battle system. There's a no moon. Ah! You should try spinning. That's a good trick.
It's terrible. This is awful. And I love it.
You're so Tauntaun gonna freeze before you get back. Then Misa see you in hell.
Is the Tauntaun a Jar Jar too?
Then I'll be careful. Misa not like you either.
The Tauntaun isn't a Jar Jar too, is it?
Yaka yaka.
Yeah. Okay, good. Just checking. All right. I think we've had enough fun for now, Ian. I think you need to step away.
Look, you go to the Dagobah system. You should find Yoda there. It's a bombast Jedi, yeah.
What I told you was true from a certain point of view.
You said for the bullshit. That's not a point of view. You said the Sith. He spent all this time me lose my hand on Sky City. You know, tell me he's freaking Vader, man. I don't know what I'm doing with Jar Jar now.
I know. You're going weird.
Even more offensive than he already is.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, he is pretty. Whew. Yeah. Pretty rough, dude. I think we're done. Luckily, I'm still recording this. You're welcome. All right.
Yeah, we're done.
You're done.
Good night, everybody.
All right. See you later.